BTS has apparently broken some rules, and people are not happy about what is going on recently. Many believe Jimin has shared BTS's reunion plans, as well as many believing that the group might disband after that. We then have the label believed to have banned or forbidden Jimin to go on live streams. Say Dumplings is Dave Disci. Let's get into it. Many people have been really upset because Jimin hasn't been on a live stream recently. And many people believe, or maybe have been hoping very much, that Jimin would get on a live stream anytime soon, as a bunch of the other members have already gone. We've seen RM go on, even if it's just briefly. We've seen the group as a whole go on. I think we've even seen V go on, I believe J-Hope or Jin as well. But we definitely don't have everybody, and that is what the commotion is about. People are upset because they want to see more of each of the members, and if you're someone who has been a big fan of Jimin, you'll definitely be really upset to know that he hasn't really been live since his comeback from the military. Many believe this is a result of the label trying to do that, basically banning Jimin on a live stream. And the rumors go even more crazy, where some people say that the label hates him so much and won't allow him to go live. The boys are definitely at the point in their career in which they could do something and ask for forgiveness later. The bottom line is the company isn't really going to just drop them at this point in their career for no reason, and for little reasons, right? Like them going on a live stream without permission. Bottom line is the boys still hold a huge percentage of the label's income every time they do a comeback, so the label essentially has to, at this point, at least hear them out, or at least let them apologize for something if they did something wrong. What I'm saying here is, if Jimin was bent on going live and his team told him no and he went live anyway, he likely would not get into a lot of trouble. So at this point, he definitely probably is not going live because he is doing stuff. He's busy, or he just wants a little bit of a break because, yes, he had just come back from the military. What I would presume, or maybe hope, is that the final days of the military were a lot more easier than maybe the other times. My hope is that during the final days he was at least resting, or just maybe doing a little bit of activities here and there, and it maybe felt more like the final days of school than it actually felt like the normal days of him in the military, and he wasn't working just as hard as he normally would. Because if you consider the military as like a 9-to-5 working situation that they do, even if you worked a 9-to-5 and you put in your 2 weeks notice, you probably would have a pretty easy 2 weeks compared to the prior weeks before the 2 weeks. Because at that point, what are they going to do if you decide to not do as much work before? They can't fire you. You're on your 2 weeks. And I guess the same thing goes with the BTS boys in the military. It's not like they can kick you out when you have 2 days left or whatever, right? So my guess, and just a guess, I don't know how the military is. Maybe it is like that. Obviously, I've never enlisted. But overall, I don't think that he's banned from doing live streams. I do think that he just perhaps wanted a little bit of a break. However, I would say that the outrage or the conversation around this is more so a positive thing, right? It's people wanting to see more of Jimin, and they're upset that they're not seeing much of him, which is of course something that I would imagine Jimin would be very excited to hear about. However, that's not the only conversation that's been in the news lately, as a lot of people are now talking about something that has happened recently that involved Jimin and some of the other BTS members losing a lot of their streams. These were songs like Don't Say You Love Me by Jin losing about 15 million streams, which sounds like a lot, but the song has about 200 million streams, so it's definitely not as much in the grand scheme of things. But then you have JK and his song 3D, as well as some of V and his songs also losing around 10 million or so streams. We also keep in mind that this is not just the BTS members, so it's not like Spotify was targeting them, but all groups and artists across the platform were getting some of their streams removed. This is nothing, of course, compared to allegedly what Jimin lost, which was for his song Who, that lost over 200 million streams. This is very upsetting to a lot of people, because even if the song has 1 billion streams, which I think it definitely reached, that 200 million is like 20% of that. So it's definitely a huge chunk, and everyone else was losing anywhere from like 5 to 7%. It's important to note that the 200 million streams was throughout the lifetime of the song, so it seems like Spotify does this on a regular basis. But let's talk about how to stream properly so stuff like this doesn't happen as often. Spotify often deletes repetitive and rapid streams. So if you listen to a song for 30 seconds and then refresh it or try to stream it again from the beginning, they will normally count that initially, but then likely will delete it later. So if you are listening to a song for a short amount of time and not all the way through, they don't want to consider that to be an actual stream because that seems shady to them. Now, the reason why I say 30 seconds is because that is the minimum requirement for a stream to count as a stream. So if you're aware of that, or figured it was going to be around that mark, and you decide to exploit that, then obviously that's not going to work. So if you want to listen to a song, definitely listen to it all the way through. And I believe according to Spotify, if you listen to a song all the way through and then you just keep looping it after listening to it all the way through, that is totally fine. That does count as a stream. For a while, there was a lot of people who were streaming Jimin's songs, and specifically Who, so rapidly and so often because they wanted to get it to 1 billion streams, but also because they felt like they had a point to prove to the label and to various other people who maybe they don't want Jimin to actually be really popular. So a lot of the streams were actually coming from people more so trying to prove a point than they were actually listening to the song, and that ends up showing, right? And of course, don't get me wrong, if Jimin had 1 billion streams and 200 million were these more repetitive or repeat streams, 800 million people would have still listened to his song. So there's no need to say that he needs to prove a point. He's already proven said point. 800 million is considered a top artist. And if you wish to continue to stream and do this more properly, you're of course welcome to do that, but I would actually focus the attention on more new music that might be coming out recently after Jimin sort of leaked something. Now I say leaked as more so a feeling that we're probably feeling rather than it actually being what's happening, because we shall be very much aware that every time an artist or someone who is a public figure releases something, there is a strategy or something behind it. It's not always an accident. However, with the BTS boys, we don't always know. Sometimes they think a specific news has already come out when it hasn't, so they might release something confirming that news, not knowing that it's not fully out yet. But the BTS reunion was definitely still in question, as a lot of people were wondering if it was actually going to happen, if they were even working on it right now, or if the solo activities were taking precedent for a little while. Now, some of that could still be true. Now, we don't know. But recently it was Army Day, July 9th, I believe, and all of the members decided to post a happy Army Day. I'm so glad they remembered these little holidays that the community has, and they participate in it. That's also very cute and fun, and they decided to all post a little bit of a selfie and cute little posts. Jio posted a compilation of ARMY at concerts and just wrote how much he loved the community and all that stuff. Jimin posted a photo of what appeared like him at the studio. He was wearing headphones, he looked like he was recording music, and it looked like he just took a selfie and this was all in the studio. And a lot of people were definitely wondering if this was the reason why he hadn't been doing live streams or a solo live stream recently, because he's been working on music, right? Which is very exciting. So a lot of people are definitely feeling like this is confirmation that the BTS reunion is definitely happening, or at least we're getting more music from Jimin, right? So either one is totally fine with me. I'd be excited for either of that. Some people also feel like the BTS reunion might end after this one, as in they're just going to release one album, kind of satisfy the fans, say that they actually did complete their contractual obligations, and then just be done with it. And this comes from the idea that there are a lot of people who still want to see the members go solo. However, whether or not they decide to go solo, they can still do that while having a reunion. So after this, they decided to take a break from the group and focus on solo activities for another year, and then come back together in another year so that they can totally do that. And if that's their plan, then more power to them. One thing I've learned more recently is just to focus on what's happening recently and currently rather than what's happening in the future, because anything can go away at any time. But the important thing is to focus on enjoying yourself now, and if that goes away, then just deal with those emotions at that time. But people are so scared to get hurt and feel hurt at a later time that they're focusing on that later time and the uncertainty of that later time rather than just enjoying the current time, which then ultimately makes you worry all the time, and then you're just never enjoying something. If possible, don't think about what's to come in the future, just think about what's happening now. Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.